Welcome into the Super Awesome Podcast.
It's the super awesome seizure.
I hated that.
um,
Fuck you, Butters.
I am Dog Slice. Danders,
Yeah.
Dog. You are Captain Pete,
Yeah, that's me.
and you are simply Matthew.
El Dorado. What's the fucking why? Because
Did
of
you
this
not watch the
movie?
movie we're doing this week? Or
I did.
okay, great. Glad you paid attention.
I
You guys-
sure did.
Do you guys have any fun things happening in your lives since we last spoke?
Captain.
Went to the Peach Festival. And guess what? They had a big old tub of peach cobbler. It was gigantic. I'm not even. It was bigger than this, but it was a line.
Visual cues.
Yeah, it was big as fuck.
For the audience, Captain simply just held his hands out as far as he could.
Yeah,
Was James there?
James. No, fucking
Oh,
James and the
God.
giant peach. Fuck. That movie was giving me the creeps.
I gotta go. I gotta get out of here.
Anyway, Peach Festival, big old thing of peach cobbler. Didn't get any. Who cares? Fuck it. Peach, Georgia. There you go.
All right.
Nice. I didn't do too much this week. Could have went to the Strawberry Festival, but we decided not to.
Why?
Because after Owen's soccer game,
Did
which
he win?
he killed it. He had 6 saves in goal at goalie,
He's
and one
goalie?
unfortunate own goal.
What a
Um,
fucking loser.
Did everybody say nice save?
I
save.
did. Yeah, I went. What a save! What a save! I
What a
spammed
save!
it.
What a save! Yeah.
But yeah, he did great. It was his best game that he had all year. But afterwards, we were like, it's a 45-minute
Prodigy.
drive to the Strawberry Festival, so she didn't want to drive there, so we just didn't go. But I did sell my Pokemon cards.
Oh, nice. How
That
much
will
you
pay
get
for
for
my
him?
vacation, so that's
If
nice.
you don't mind my asking.
What?
How much did you get for him? If you don't mind my asking.
I got my money back for him. What I spent.
You went out of your way to fucking get like a original set, right?
Actually, quite the opposite. I went to the
Or you told him
store.
this. Well,
I get
you
what you're
like-
saying. I went to the store and said, hey, build me a master set. They built me 3 master sets, and I sold all of them. Because I
Wow.
want to pay for my vacation that way.
what if you just didn't spend that money ever and had it in a savings account?
That's a good point, Captain. But also, I
Financial
came to the
advice on the Super Awesome Podcast.
Don't take financial advice from me. That's the way to go.
Well, I wanted them. I've had them for I don't even know how long now, over a year at least.
They're pretty sweet. Yeah.
And I loved having them, but and just for the audience, they were a master set of the base Jungle and Fossil 99 Wizards of the Coast Pokemon cards.
Nerding it up.
Sure am.
Super
But
awesome
they were just
nerd.
sitting in my closet collecting dust. I never really looked at them, only to pull them out to show people. So I said, hey, you know what? Let's just sell them, pay for the vacation. Get
Where are you
out of
going on vacation?
here. We're going to DC.
Now you're
Super
gonna
awesome
hit
DC trip.
History.
What does that
nerded up.
mean for the Super Awesome Pod?
Well, what it means is I'll be back in time to record and won't miss a beat.
Y'all ever seen that movie DC Cab?
No.
No.
All right, y'all suck. Mr. T's in it.
You ever seen
Pity the fool.
Fake Taxi?
Fake Taxi.
Why are we doing this?
I don't know.
All I've been doing is working a lot, so much actually, getting crushed at work. It's been great. I've been having just a really good time working like 12-hour days. So yeah, I did deliver to a farm the other day that had some horses. And for anybody who knows anything about horses, can y'all explain why some of the horses were wearing like masks? Like they looked like
I've
don't know,
I've asked. I
like
haven't asked
Nacho
any.
Libre masks.
I haven't
but
asked any horse people. But yeah, where it's like, why do they have a thing over their fucking eyes?
Well, no, this one they didn't even have anything over their eyes. I've seen that too, but this one, like, it literally looked like a wrestler's mask, like Rey Mysterio. It was wearing a fucking mask. Its mouth was exposed, and its eyes were exposed, and its ears were good. But then on the other side, Like it had two different pastures. So like one pasture had, I'm guessing they're like show horses or something. I have no idea. And then on the other side, just had like horses and like baby horses. Those called calves. I don't know. But yeah, they
They're
didn't wear
not
masks.
ponies.
It was just the like the two or three in that one pasture. So I'm curious why they're wearing Rey Mysterio masks.
I know they wear the mask to protect them from bugs or something of that nature.
I don't know.
Well, I want a horse person to explain that to me because I was
I do
very
know that
concerned.
people think that ponies are like young horses, but ponies are ponies and horses are horses. Ponies are like their own fucking thing. You ever seen those midget horses where they're like a baby horse? Those like itty bitty horses. I don't know.
Well,
What about donkeys?
horses, Rey Mysterio masks. Today we're talking about the
So
Mask of
if you
Zorro.
breed a donkey, you have a donkey fuck a horse, you get a mule. But I
You
forget where
sure
I was
do.
going with that.
So the Mask of Zorro is what we're talking about today.
They sure do ride some horses in this movie. I tell
They
you
sure
what.
do.
In a world where a knighted Englishman is Mexico's savior, meet Zorro, a sort of Robin Hood hero, and Don Rafael Montero, a corrupt governor with a secret gold mine operated with slave labor. After 20 years in jail, Zorro breaks free and begins training the new Zorro. The new Zorro falls for the old Zorro's daughter, and I can't even blame him. She's a dime. Can the two Zorros work together to free the slaves? How many times did I say the name Zorro? Find out in The Mask of Zorro.
All
Okay.
right. Mask of Zorro was released July 17th, 1998, directed by Martin Campbell, based on Zorro by Johnson McCulley, produced by TriStar Pictures, distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing, starring Antonio Banderas, Anthony Hopkins, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Stuart Wilson, and Matt Letcher. Letcher. The movie had a budget of 95 million and made 250.3 million at the box office. Catherine Zeta-Jones is a babe. All right, you guys have any fun facts?
I don't have much. They had to dub the sword noises in post production because the noises were. I think they were using like aluminum swords or something, and they sounded off. So they had to dub that in later, which was probably quite the task because there's lots of sword play in this movie.
Yep.
All right. I had that filming began January of '97, and they actually originally cast Sean Connery for Don
Yeah.
Diego de la Vega
I read that.
before
weird.
Anthony Hopkins took over. I also have that Zorro is actually Spanish for fox,
Hmm.
and in the books, the commoners started calling him that because of how like cunning and fox-like he was.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you have any other ones, or should I just keep going?
I have one more.
Isn't
right.
Anthony Hopkins like he can actually fence? Or am I fucking that up?
They all can.
Okay.
The influence for this movie, which seemed pretty obvious as I was watching it, was Batman. Or I'm sorry, Zorro was the influence for Batman because Zorro came out, I believe, in I think I have
It's like the
1919,
yeah.
Mhm.
It's like a long time ago.
and the first Batman comic came out 20 years later in 39.
Isn't it crazy to think of how old fucking certain comic books are?
Yes.
They're
But
like like before pre-World War II. That's how old fucking Batman is or whatever. That's ridiculous.
And
And then
only in the
Zorro, the character of Zorro, 1919. That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
and
That's a
and
long ass time ago.
he's kind of like loosely based on like Robin Hood, like you said, in a
Yeah.
world. Um, so I have that he is believed to be inspired by Joaquin Murrieta, also referred to Robin Hood of El Dorado, and he's actually like so Anthony and or fuck Antonio Banderas, sorry, his character is like a fictional brother of the actual dude.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
his brother's name's Joaquin, isn't it?
yeah. So yeah, like Zorro's, loosely based on that actual man.
Mm,
Um, and he was doing, let's see, it was set around like the California Gold Rush.
yeah.
Um, and that's kind of when Joaquin was doing his being an outlaw, I guess, but he was getting back at like the U.S. militia or whatever that was basically doing. I think it's like referred to as the California genocide of the indigenous people that were living there during the gold rush in California. So yeah, that's that. I also have in July 25th, 1853, Captain Harry Love. So he's also a real person.
Yeah.
And his
Doesn't he look so
Rangers.
much like the fucking dude in Last
Last
Samurai?
Samurai.
They look
Yeah.
exactly the same.
Yeah. There's some similarities there.
That's fair. So yeah, so Captain Love and his Rangers allegedly killed Joaquin and two other outlaws, one being Manuel Garcia, who was known as Three Fingered Jack. So that guy also existed, but he wasn't like a white guy. He was.
I love when that guy
Uh,
gets fucking shot the second time. He's flying through the air and then he gets shot and he like slams through the ground. I'm like, what, did he get shot with a cannon? What the fuck?
so another thing that was actually something that happened in real life. So he did cut off the head of Joaquin allegedly, um, and then he cut the hand off of Three Fingered Jack, and
Yeah.
he put them in jars of alcohol to preserve them so that he could bring it back and get his reward of like $5,000. And I plugged that into a calculator, and it's like $200,000 in money today. So
Mm.
I feel like that's a pretty decent.
Okay. The scene of him
I'd behead
drinking.
someone for $200,000.
I was just talking the reward, but
Oh, okay, yeah, the
for his
rewards.
capture or whatever.
Uh,
Well, I
makes
feel
more
like
sense.
outlaws are always portrayed like they want their number to be higher. Like, oh, we're only worth that. The fuck?
I was like, why did he take a drink of his
that,
brother's head juice? Because
that
isn't that
was gross.
formaldehyde?
Gross.
Yeah.
But it makes more sense that it's alcohol.
Um, let's see. I had that Banderas or yeah, he practiced with the Spain fencing team in
For
preparation
like
for the film.
4 months or some shit, right?
Yeah, and then later when they were actually in Mexico shooting this, most of this was shot in Mexico City. But Hopkins, Banderas, and Zeta Jones all trained with Bob Anderson for months for all the fight scenes and stuff. And then the final scene with spoilers uh, with Elena and Alejandro happily together with a child and whatnot. That was added 3 months after filming had ended because I think Spielberg had some producing in this, is what I was reading, and I guess him and a couple of the other producers had decided that like the ending of Anthony Hopkins' character dying in
Wasn't happy enough for
Elena's
them.
arm, yeah, it was like way too depressing to end the movie on. So they brought him back like 3 months later to film that final scene. So that's all I got for facts. So there you go. Bang.
All right, let's talk about the Mask of Zorro.
All right. So we start out. It's 1821, and Zorro is defending the peasants of Las Californias from Spanish soldiers. The governor, Don Rafael Montero, sets a trap of an execution of some locals, with which Zorro stops from happening with some help from two young brothers named Alejandro and Joaquin Murieta. Zorro gives them a medallion as thanks, and somehow Montero finds out as Zorro leaves. Montero finds out who Zorro is, which is unexplained, and goes to his home and attempts to arrest him. Which a fight breaks out along with a fire, and Zorro's wife is killed by one of Montero's soldiers, which pisses Montero off. So he kills that soldier because he also loves her. And they capture Zorro, and Montero kidnaps his daughter Elena and will raise her as his own to, I guess, to spite Zorro, while Zorro rots in prison. Fast forward 20 years, and we meet the two young brothers again, all grown up. In an attempt to scam their way into collecting their own bounty money, they get caught by Captain Harrison Love. Alejandro escapes while his brother shoots himself to avoid
Did
giving
he?
Captain
Did what?
Love.
He fucking, what did he do?
He escapes.
He sure did escape.
And his
Every
brother,
single fucking episode.
I say escape a lot in this. So, while his brother shoots himself to avoid giving Captain Love the honor of killing him himself. We then cut to Montero returning to California with the now 20-year-old Elena, who believes he is her father at this point, and Captain can go fuck himself.
I did think it
So-
was when he escapes prison, it looks real easy. Like, why has he been down there for 20 years?
Yeah. I
He's
had the
like
same
he's like
thought.
all old and got this big old beard. And then this one opportunity arises in the past 20 years, and he's like, bada boom, bada boom, bada bing, out of prison.
Maybe
It's like,
maybe he just felt like I mean he mentions that he's been dead basically. So by the love of his life being killed right in front of him, his daughter being taken away from him, and him just going to jail, and then they leave back to Spain. So it's like he can't even get his revenge. So like why it doesn't have any like will to live would be my guess.
yeah. Well,
And then
also,
when he comes in to like try to find him, that sparks the like, oh shit, yeah, I got to get out of here so I can get my revenge.
also when he puts gunpowder in the
Oh yeah,
iron lock on his ankle and then lights it, I'm like, wouldn't that just blow your foot off?
that was thinking
If
the
it-
exact same thing.
If it was strong enough to blow that lock open, you'd think it'd also be strong enough to just blow your whole foot off.
I did have a question about the whole. So you had mentioned that it's not really explained why he like knows that it's Zorro. So yeah, I was just gonna ask like, how did they know that Zorro was Don Diego de la Vega? Something I never thought about as a kid when I would watch this, but watching it with the context of doing this podcast, I was like, how the like they're just in his house. Also, they like snuck up on him.
Also, his house is fucking sweet looking.
Oh yeah, it's dope.
It's like
his
a
bat
mansion.
cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's got the cave too that goes into the house. Yeah.
But yeah, did you guys pick up on anything that might have
I told you before we recorded or started recording, it's got to be the striking Anthony Hopkins eyes. He saw he saw him in the mat, like through the mask, and he's like, "I've seen those eyes before. I know that's goddamn whatever the fuck De La Vega is. What's his name? Anthony Hopkins.
De La
Those
Vega.
dashing,
Oscar De La Hoya.
those dashing
Gotcha.
Hannibal Lecter eyes.
Yes, Clarice.
But I want to know why they gave up on finding Alejandro so fast when they clearly had the upper hand.
Maybe he's
After-
just real fast at running.
he doesn't run
Super
far. He just kind of just hide behind a bush for a second. He just
Uh,
like give up the chase.
I just wanted to say on my question real quick. I saw some theories online that believe that he stumbled on the finding out that Zorro was De La Vega because he actually showed up to just take Esperanza back to Spain. Like he was just gonna like take her
Steal
because
her?
he was all because he shows
That's-
up and he's like, I'm gonna leave you without a husband, or whatever. But another theory that I think is better is that when he jumps and meets him on the balcony and carves a Z in his neck or whatever, he addresses him very informally, implying that he knows him.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
I liked that kind of theory better than that other one.
one thing I think is weird is like this lady's married and has a kid. Also, she's like 20 years younger than Anthony Hopkins, but we're not going to talk about that part. But
She's also a babe.
he's like, I love this woman. She's mine. And and it's like she's married, dude. Like, does she don't like you? Like, what the fuck? You're just like, I'm gonna take her and she's mine now. I guess that's how it works in the 1800s or something. You just
Yeah.
want if you have enough money, you're just like that lady is coming with me.
I'll make you love me.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if you guys would have liked to have seen more of the two brothers doing like some of their scams and heists together instead of just getting caught immediately. And I mean, I
I
know it
mean,
fits the plot of the movie and whatnot, but I thought it would have been more fun to
I
see
I
some.
do think that happened pretty quickly. Like
yeah.
that Captain Love was just like chilling there with his boys as they, you know, get they like got they got their reward money, and they also tied those guys up on a cactus
Yeah,
in the
that was
nude.
great.
I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, then they're just like strolling through, and then Captain Love's like already there waiting for him, and it's like, how did he
Yeah.
know they were there? I mean, I guess he could have been tracking them for a while, but still.
Yeah. I don't know. That all that happened quick. But yeah, a little bit of backstory on little Zorro and his brother. That would have been cool, but that would have made this movie like 3 hours long. It's already kind of a long movie anyway. But yeah, they jump, they make a big jump, and then you're just right into it with the Antonio Banderas
Put some
get,
moots.
getting his brother killed. Yeah, listen.
I do want to say one last thing before we go on. Watching as an adult with my own kid, the scene of him like taking his kid away and just like, all right, you lose. Sorry, bud. That bothered me a lot more now than it ever had before.
That's another thing. He's like, I love this lady that happens to be your wife, and then she gets killed, and he's like, oh damn. Well, I guess I'll just take your fucking daughter. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah,
I'm gonna raise her as my daughter.
yeah,
What kind of fucking lunatic?
just all out of spite.
Yeah, I don't. I don't understand that. I can't fuck this lady since she's dead, but I'll raise her kid. That's weird. What the fuck? I don't know.
All right, Matthew, you can proceed.
So, after 20 years in prison, Zorro decides to finally break free after catching a glimpse of Montero again. He comes across Alejandro almost immediately after and notices the medallion he gave him years ago. Well, actually, gave him to his brother. Brother died, took the medallion. He offers to train him so they can work together fighting their common enemy. This is when we go to Zorro's bat cave under his family home and begin the training montage. We all love a montage. Alejandro decides to steal a horse similar to Zorro's old horse named Tornado. And Zorro is not happy about this and mentions that they are not thieves and he should gain the trust of Montero through charm instead. This is when they proceed to go to a Montero, I believe it's his party. They go to Montero's party disguised as a nobleman and a servant, with Zorro being the servant. Alejandro and Elena have a spicy dance routine, and he gains the trust of Montero
God, I
as the
hated
party
that.
goes on. He gains the trust of Montero as the party goes on, gaining an invite to a secret rich people meeting, where we learn the plan to retake California by purchasing it from General Santa Anna, who's short on funds for the upcoming Mexican-American War. This is when we go to his secret gold mine named El Dorado and notice the peasant slave labor, children included. All the while, Elena is strolling through town and comes across her old nanny, who reveals her parents' identity to her. Alejandro steals the map to the mine, is chased down by Elena, where they have a strip fight and make out before Alejandro escapes.
What's
I
your
hated
problem
that
with the dance
fucking-
scene?
It's 2 movies in a row now that we've done that had a unnecessary choreographed fucking dance. Blast from the Past had Blast from the Past had a stupid dance scene too. I'm like, they could have had more backstory on the brothers instead of that fucking dance scene.
But Catherine Zeta-Jones.
So she was just doing this. She like whips her head back.
That's all she needs to do.
Look, dude, she's gorgeous.
Have you seen her nowadays? She's fucked.
I don't think she's that bad looking.
She looks all fucking plastic surgery.
She definitely has had a little bit of work
stitches
done.
on her face.
I mean, I'd take her out to a nice Olive Garden meal.
Of course, you'd take her out to some restaurant. God,
All I'm saying is, I was in love with her when I was a young boy, and I'm still all better.
Well, that's great. But fuck, I had something to say before the fucking dance scene, but the dance scene, why is it in there?
I think it just helps build the chemistry between the two. I think there's like some
Oh my
good
God.
tension.
That Antonio, he sure can dance. Tell you what.
You just don't understand. You
You don't get it, man.
You
I don't
just
see,
don't
I don't
get
see
it.
y'all fucking dancing.
I
Dude,
can dance.
I'll
You
dance
can't
right
dance.
now. I will not do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, please don't. I wanted to ask. So this movie to me reminded me a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Caribbean.
Okay, this is what we're doing. Caribbean, whatever. Reminds me of that a lot with its humor along with its swordplay. But I wanted to say the the swordplay in this movie is really good. It's really done well.
Yeah.
All the fights were entertaining. They all had something interesting happening. Um, yeah. What did you guys think about the some of the fights in this movie?
This is definitely a stuntman's movie for sure. There's all kind of crazy stunts. He's jumping off of shit, doing flips, fighting all at the same time.
Yeah,
I
there's
didn't think
definitely
it
a
was.
lot of parkour.
I did think there was a part that was a little unrealistic, where he jumps from like a second story just onto his feet.
There's a
He just
there's a
goes.
couple of those.
He jumps way up from way up here and just lands on his fucking feet. No roll,
Yeah.
none of that. I'm just like, is this guy fucking Spider Man? Because he
Yeah.
just
Instant broken legs.
Yeah,
yeah.
there's definitely a couple of those where I'm like, oh, your knees are done. Toast. Gone.
But
But no,
I,
the
I
sword
think
fighting is great in this movie.
I think the only stunt that Antonio Banderas didn't do, from what I read, was when he was on the back of the horses and he jumps over the log to land on the two horses
When he's
again.
riding two horses at once,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing he really didn't do.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like they had months of training with the swords and stuff.
Antonio
Like, they did. Yeah,
Banderas,
they
more
did a
like
great job.
Antonio Badass.
Good one. Uh,
I mean, they couldn't have cast a more perfect Zorro though.
Yeah, I mean he's a real Spanish guy, unlike Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, the knighted Englishman.
Sir Zorro. But yeah, when they're in the barn and he's just, they wouldn't do anything like this today in today's movie making, where they're fighting with swords and then her shit is just falling off, and then in one big swoop her whole shirt's off and her hair's covering her tits, and it's like, gotcha. And then they do like a Star Trek kiss or whatever, where they're like,
Yeah, they really go in for it on these
it's like
makeout scenes.
full
man.
on open mouth, like, that's how
Look,
we're
it's-
gonna kiss here.
Le Passion.
They're
Sure.
really sticking their tongues down their
You're gonna
throats
fucking
in this
have your
movie.
teeth clank together with your mouth open that wide.
But talking about when he goes and steals the horse, like I was wondering how they made this horse do all these scenes. He's like running through wood walls and knocking down.
Oh yeah,
bunk
they
beds.
did crash through a wall with the
They do it
horse.
twice. So I was
Maybe
wondering how they
just
did that.
That's a tough horse.
They got the horse to be all wild and started fucking around inside that barn in a really small space. Like how'd they film that? The
I don't
horse
know.
is wild.
I will tell you, this movie really made me want to watch like The Outlaw Josie Wales or something. You know what I mean?
Josie Wales.
I'm like, the only thing missing from this movie is a cowboy. I mean, you got Zorro, and Zorro's fun, but I'm like, I'd rather watch a guy go, this town ain't big enough for the two of us. You know what I mean? It made me want to watch an old Western type movie.
Come on, Dutch.
Oh, come on, All
Are we serious?
Yes.
right.
Yeah, the strip fight. Great.
I
Great
really thought-
addition to the movie.
I thought since I watched this movie so much as a kid, I thought I wasn't gonna like it or whatever. I thought, but no, this movie is like really well put together. The cast is great, acting's good, the recording, all the shots, everything, the stunts, like it's just a really well put together movie. Nothing to really complain about.
I
I
agree.
had never seen it before until last night.
How?
I just never watched it. I don't know. Never grew up
Hmm.
watching it, but I was very pleasantly surprised at how much I like this movie.
I mean,
Um,
it's definitely silly. I mean, it's PG-13, but it has a lot of it's like it balances like a silly with action with like some very serious like adult themed
Yeah.
shit.
mhm.
Uh, I also thought it was going to be. I haven't watched it in a long time, so I was thinking this was going to be really cheesy, and it is sometimes, but like I think
Yeah.
it's really well done. So
Cheesy's not always bad,
No.
but yeah, it's very, very Pirates of the Caribbean. Very
I'd say it's
similar
way
to
better
that.
than that shit.
No way.
Can't. I'm not a fucking Pirates of Caribou fan.
You best start believing in ghost stories because
Is
you're
that a
in one.
is that a fucking line?
Sure
Oh,
is.
is that when he like, and then the moon comes over and he's like a
Yeah.
skeleton? He's
Yeah.
like, and Johnny Depp's like, oh my god, I'm gonna have this really long trial and have it all with my wife, and she took a shit on the bed.
right, I don't
I
know.
heard what you were saying.
Anyway, Zorro. I don't think it doesn't make me think of Pirates Caribbeanish. I don't know.
With their, I'm talking more specifically
Like
with their sword fights.
like the sword fights and kind of the lightheartedness of it.
Yeah, that's very like very. I mean, I guess Pirates of the Caribbean took it from Zorro, maybe, but that's just what it was reminding me of. Like when Jack Sparrow and Will were fighting in the blacksmith shop, and stuff like that, using the set pieces around them and in
Oh,
the fights.
I forgot to mention this. During the montage, they took a scene from like a Jackie Chan movie when he's doing the push-ups over the candles and Anthony Hopkins' feet are on his back. That's like straight from a Jackie Chan fucking movie. I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah, I also read that. I can't remember the name of the movie though.
But also he does some there's some Jackie Chan inspiration in this movie because he's using like unorthodox things to fight off the bad guys. Like when he grabs like the longhorns off the wall and he's using that to block shit or whatever. That's straight out of Jackie Chan handbook.
Yeah, he really grabbed the bull by the horns in this movie.
Indeed.
Can I add more cricket noises in here on this video?
Like, he literally grabs the bull by the horns.
I sure did.
God.
So anyway, that plot.
Yeah. Are we on the?
But this movie does have one,
It does.
if you were curious. But I'm getting into the act 3 of the plot here,
Oh,
All
which is
right.
my final act for the Super Awesome Podcast.
Fuck.
Plot breakdown. Montero,
God, I hate
sorry,
you.
Montero decides to destroy the mine and
That's
kill all
racist.
the workers because he thinks the general may figure out the scheme because he's stealing gold from his own land and branding it as somebody else's. Spain's gold, I believe.
Yeah.
Zorro.
Like we got all this gold on here, but he doesn't know it, so we're just gonna take it and then stamp it.
And destroy
What a
it.
fucking sneaky little sneak.
Sneaky little slippery little snake.
Slippery.
Zorro tells Alejandro to free the slaves while he takes care of his own personal battle of reclaiming his daughter, Elena. Zorro gets to Montero and demands he call Elena down so he can tell her the truth. She doesn't seem fully convinced until Montero arrests him, and as he walks away, he mentions the flowers that she recognized earlier which then makes her believe it all. And I believe the flower is called Romnia, something of that nature. Some flower that only
Yeah.
grows in California. She later helps Zorro escape. I said it right. Escape. and they head to the mine where Alejandro fights Captain Harrison Love, while Zorro fights Montero in a pretty cool fight scene. They both win their respective fights, and Zorro dies in his daughter's arms. Not before letting Alejandro know that he may continue on as the new Zorro, and also gives his blessing to marry Elena. I read that. I didn't quite see it in the movie. Maybe I'm
It was,
forgetting.
it was kind of implied, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But that's when we fast forward to the end, and Alejandro and Elena are married and have a child named after Alejandro's brother Joaquin in the old Zorro Batcave home.
Who later grows up to play the Joker, um, which won a bunch of awards. Joaquin. Anyway, that was a Joaquin Phoenix joke. Try to sprinkle it in there. Fucking y'all suck.
That's what we call a super awesome yikes.
Super awesome dud. Oh, God.
So
Speaking of duds,
that is my name.
Why does
Go
my
ahead with your
armpit hair
thoughts.
have like a
I'm-
direct line in it?
I'm Dud the podcaster, but my question is: do you guys think Elena switches dads like weirdly quickly?
Yeah, I was
Yes.
actually I was talking to Serena about it. I was like, well, I'm like, yeah, she switches fast because it's like if the guy wasn't a dick, like he raised her, right? So if he was like a good dad, I guess, then yeah, she switched like really fast. Like, oh, this guy's my real dad. Yep, I believe it. You know what I mean? But what if Montero, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yes.
What if he was like an asshole dad growing up and she's like, fuck you, dad. This is my real dad now. I don't give a shit. I don't know.
It didn't seem
mean,
like that was their
Yeah,
relationship.
she seemed to
Yeah, it seemed normal.
Seemed to
yeah.
respect him.
like they clearly had maybe some political differences, but
Yeah.
that like she still loved and respected her father.
Well, I think
Basically.
that's the thing. Anthony Hopkins is just so charming that she's like, I'd rather him be my dad. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna switch teams to Anthony Hopkins' team.
I respect
pick
it.
the winning
I do
side.
think at least like when he threatens to shoot her, to make Anthony Hopkins or Diego de la Vega make him drop his sword. And then he's like, "You think I'd shoot my own daughter?" I feel like that could have been maybe a little eye opening, like the fact that my father would even threaten to, put a gun to my head.
He's a bad fucking
Maybe
guy.
he's not the nice father figure that I thought he was. So maybe that had something to do with it. But it still was like she was weirdly accepting of, like, I guess quickly, I suppose. But
yeah. I thought it was pretty quick, but you gotta have the story go somewhere. But the fight scene, can we talk about? I saw so many things talking about. It took him like 3 takes where pulls up his goddamn sword and it glints off the sun like across the full length of the blade, which is a really cool looking shot, but it wasn't like it wasn't manufactured or whatever.
Oh, it wasn't?
I
just assumed it was like a glare effect.
No, it was the real sun. Like it was just like
cool.
at the perfect angle. So I thought that shit was like actually really cool. And I see a lot of people talk about it, but it took him like 3 takes, and it was yeah. So he pulls out the sword, and then it just glints off the length of the blade, which is pretty sweet.
It's so seamless. I just assumed it was an effect added to it.
Nah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was cool. Well, do you guys want to get into your super awesome ratings?
Super awesome ratings on a super awesome podcast.
Super
I'll go first.
awesome.
Wait. Can we talk about the explosion?
Oh yeah, sure. Go for it.
That explosion looked like it was bigger than they expected. Does it not seem like that to you? Like they were like, all right, we're gonna have the big explosion scene, and then it was like, boom! It was like way bigger explosion because it like hits the wood, like hits the camera and shit. It looked to me like they might have had more, I don't know, dynamite than they had anticipated because the explosion was obnoxious.
Not that it's helpful for the podcast at all, but I think I might try to do some research on how that was shot. For some reason I didn't even think to look that up. So maybe I'll look that up and post it on one of our social media accounts.
No. The explosion was ridiculous, and also I thought it was from a political like guy stand fuck from a guy that's in charge of shit and doesn't want to lose money. Their plan is to blow up the mine and all the slaves that are digging the shit out. I'd be like, whoa, 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 whoa. I know they're slaves and all, but you're gonna blow up all my workers too. Like they just had them in cages. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna blow up the mine and all these people at the same time. If it was me, I'd be like, you can't get rid of all my slaves. I need them for other evil things I'm going to do. Don't
Yeah,
just blow them up.
I mean, Three Fingered Jack. He says, as before he like lunges at him, he's like, I'm just a common thief, but what you guys are doing is like way fucking worse than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that applies to modern times a little bit. Not, so it still exists.
Slave labor still exists.
Well, I'm not just talking that, but just like the way that anybody with power treats the common folk. Yeah. Us peasant people.
I'm just saying, if I was in charge, I wouldn't want all my miners blown the fuck up.
Had to get rid of the evidence.
I know, but who are they gonna tell? You wouldn't believe it. We were digging in that mine, and they weren't even paying us a fair wage. Like nobody's gonna listen to them.
Good
I
Lord.
wanted to ask, did the medallion really serve any purpose in this movie, other than
It was
cool?
It was the circle, the training circle.
I got that, but like I don't know, it just seemed like it meant more than just what they were trying to go for. That's just me though.
I don't know.
And what killed Anthony Hopkins? Did he just like have
He got
a heart
shot.
attack? Oh, he got shot?
Yeah.
Oh, I must
He
have
puts
missed
his
it.
sword down, and homeboy's like, "You think I'd kill my own daughter?" And
Oh,
then
he just
goes
shot
to
him?
shoot.
Oh,
and
I
then
thought
he goes to shoot him, and Elena like hits his hand, so he doesn't kill him. It just messes with his shot or whatever. But
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't
he
know.
gets shot.
I didn't know if he got shot or if he was just like had a heart attack
Nope,
or some shit.
got shot. But anyway, super awesome ratings on the Super Awesome podcast.
All right. So I have never seen this movie before and was quite surprised at how much I liked it, as I said earlier. I think my only knock on it is that it was just a little too long. 2.5 hour runtime.
Yeah.
But other than that, no complaints really. The fighting choreography and effects were great. Stunts were cool. Music was great. Lots of comedy thrown in. Just a really fun and great movie.
You complaining about length of the movie coming from fucking Last Samurai guy over here.
True.
Okay.
I think
And
every one of your
Castaway.
movies has been super long.
Yeah, each one of your movies is over 2 hours.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. All right.
Fuck you.
I give this movie 8.5 super awesomes out of 10 super awesomes on the Super Awesome podcast.
There we go. We got it from old Captain Bread down there.
That's Lieutenant Bread.
Lieutenant Bread, General Bread, Staff Sergeant Bread, Master Gunnery Sergeant Bread.
Got a staff for you.
Oh. I'll do mine next.
Super awesome.
I still think this movie holds up. It's got a lot of practical shots, which I think are pretty cool, obviously, with like the explosion and stuff. I think it takes some very like serious and real shit and like packs in a lot of action and comedy, or like I had said earlier, maintains some silliness and charm. I think this movie appeals to all ages, which is cool. And knowing that there's a historical significance adds a lot more to it for me personally. And I think the chemistry between all of the actors really is pretty good. I'm going to give it a 8.9. Super awesomes.
8.9. That's pretty high.
Classic for me.
All right. The Mask of Zorro, starring Antonio Banderas and Anthony Hopkins. I give it an 8.5. I agree with Matthew. Well, 8.5. Yeah. I think all in all, everything's done well about the movie. Nothing to complain about. But for some reason, I will say I think this movie is forgettable. I don't know why. Like I fucking completely forgot Anthony Hopkins was even in this movie. You know what I mean? And then I was like, oh yeah. You know,
Well,
I don't know. I don't know. There's something about it where you're like, oh, that was a really good movie. Do I need to watch it for the next 20 years? No. I'm good.
so you're saying it's similar to like Jurassic Park for you then in that regard?
I'd rather watch this than Jurassic Park. I don't give a fuck about Jurassic Park for some reason.
Mhm.
Everybody people are like, oh, I love Jurassic Park. I'm just like, there's the guy in the white suit, and then there's all the other characters. I don't know any of their fucking names, and that guy from Seinfeld, just forgettable. I don't
Well,
know why.
one thing's for sure, they didn't spare any expense.
Yeah, sure didn't.
You guys have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Check out the Mask of Zorro. That's it. Be charmed over by Anthony and Anthony.
I
Speaking of Anthony, fuck Butters. I'm gonna say it twice in this in the podcast. I know y'all don't know who
That's fair.
Butters is, but I do.
Maybe he'll
not the
make an
South
appearance.
Park Butters,
Maybe
Not
he'll make an
South Park
appearance.
Butters.
but
Butters said he just got a little S10, a 91. He didn't send me any more pictures of it.
Hmm.
Looks like a piece of shit.
Probably is. Matthew?
Bro.
final thoughts. Great movie, recommend it. Fun. Wouldn't have minded a prequel, maybe back in late '90s. Going over
There is a
the
sequel.
two brothers' adventures, but that's about it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and spin this here wheel.
Super
Those
awesome wheel
movies.
time.
Super awesome.
And while I
podcast.
do, please like, share, subscribe, leave a review, comment on a movie you'd like to see us do. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at Super Awesome Podcast or Super Awesome Pod. And it looks like
What
it
does
landed
that
on
say?
something I'm not going to want to watch. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Captain, you are not going to enjoy this.
I don't even know what that is.
I bet you he might.
Well, the story is very, very good, but it's another Korean film.
Fuck.
It's not. It's English. It's in English.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't have
Is it?
anything against dub movies. I
I
just
guess you're
don't
right. It is in English.
fucking prefer them.
I
It's
watch everything
definitely
with subtitles on now. I guess I just, for some reason, why was I thinking it was in Korean?
because you're stupid.
I
If
guess
I have
so.
to if I have to read subtitles the whole movie, I miss shit
No, you don't.
in the
You
movie.
do
He's right.
briefly for some scenes, but they're minor.
Like it's okay if it's like certain parts of a movie, but if it's the entire movie, like I have to be paying attention to the fucking dialogue at the bottom.
Well, I was mistaken. I forgot.
You're
I'm very
always
excited for
mistaken.
this episode.
All right. You guys are fucking being mean right now.
What's it? I don't even know what it's called.
like that.
Everything all around at one time.
Yes, exactly. Spot on.
Yes, that's it.
We're
Well,
gonna have
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Sure, we're gonna have to fucking pay for this one as well.
It's got the.
it's on. It might be
It's on
Netflix.
some streaming service.
Yeah, it's on something if you pay for it.
No, it's free.
No, I doubt it. It never is. All
Freedom
right.
isn't
Anyway, we're
free.
gonna sign off here on the Super Us
Yeah.
podcast. The reason the last one faded off is because it ended similar to this, and there was no end.
It's on Netflix.
Okay. Well, we're all gonna wave bye.